Hello and welcome. As a theme to this session or this class, I'd like to share with you a little quote. And it's referring to introspection here, which is our ability to be able to discern our internal sensations. Introspection is a way of monitoring ourselves so that we can ease the felt pain, so that we can expand the felt joy, and so that we can make sure that we have the resources in any given moment. And that really resonates with me in such a deep way, because I see all the time, and I have experienced myself, that when we're unable to really have that sense of a felt experience in our body, it can lead to pushing yourself, it can lead to injury, it can lead to frustration, it can lead to giving up something before you've actually allowed yourself the opportunity to really experience that. So today's tutorial is really about building your self-awareness through a couple of really simple poses. And quite often the way to build that is by inviting your attention towards a part of your body, noticing, and just making any alterations or adjustments so that you're able to suit your body in the moment. So I'm so thrilled that you've joined me. I guess we should get straight into it. So I don't think we'll really need any props for this practice. We'll just move through a couple of poses and I'll give you the opportunity to allow yourself some time just to think about what you notice in your body. So before we even begin here, come to an easy seated position, and if you are in this cross-legged position, then I invite you to grab a blanket or something just to prop your hips up a little bit so that you're encouraging your hips to be slightly higher than your knees or level with your knees. And then just settle your sit bones, those kind of bony prominences on your butt. Just allow them to settle comfortably. And then just take a moment, if you're comfortable to close down your eyes and to turn your attention inwards. And as you sit here for a moment, you might like to begin by gently scanning your body. And quite often the first place to naturally start at is the point that you feel a connection to the ground to. That could be the outer edges of your feet if you have your legs crossed. It could be skin against skin, meaning the front of your leg connecting with the back of your leg. It could just be your sit bones or where you're sitting. Just notice any sensations. Notice whether you feel balance or imbalance and how you respond to that. And then the practice is all about turning your attention inwards. Just gently let your energy and attention drift from one physical part of your body to another physical part of your body. Can you name the sensation that your attention is drawn to? But better still, can you name the sensation that your energy is drawn to without any judgment whatsoever? So a big part of introspection is learning to step into, as well as step away back from sensation mindly. It's a really important skill for healthy embodiment. Start to layer your awareness now of your physical body with your breath. the first thing you might be drawn to is how the breath moves your body. Do you notice that the form of your body is changing shape? And then if you notice this shape change, can you notice where in your body it's drawn to changing shape? Can you feel a fullness with your in-breath? Are you aware of an emptiness or an emptying with your out-breath or exhale? Can you notice how the qualities of these breaths support you in really different ways? Just take a few more breaths here. For some of you, sitting like this might be uncomfortable for your outer hips. So please, during this practice, really tune into how your body's feeling. And if it is the case where your hips are uncomfortable, can you allow yourself the opportunity to change the shape? And that might mean just extending your legs out in front of you, repositioning your hip bones, and then again connect with the sensations that you're now aware of. Is it that you find more comfort with the legs extended? Is it that now you've changed the shape, you're able to focus a little better because you've taken time to listen to your body? Take one more breath. Gently open your eyes. And let's move into a couple of yoga forms that will help support your body awareness. So let's start by coming to hands and knees. Positioning your knees just below your hips and your hands just in front of your shoulder line. Your toes can either be tucked under like mine, or you can just press the tops of your feet into the ground. And again, just take a moment to notice how your hands feel pressing into the ground. Can you feel the firmness and the support below your hands? Can you discern the textures that you feel? And what about your knees? How do your knees feel? Do you need to add a blanket to support and protect the knees? And then if you work your way up your arms, how do your shoulders feel? Can you make adjustments in your shoulders? Is it that you're holding tension here? And if you are holding tension, how can you release that tension just a little to accommodate you? And then apart from the pressure on your hands and your knees, is there much else going on? Now I'd like to guide you into making this a little more energetic. So have a feeling, without physically moving your hands, of pressing your hands and knees away from one another. So it's like you're pressing your hands up to the top of the mat and your knees away from your hands. And notice the engagement now. So it might be that you notice your shoulders feel a lot tighter, your legs, maybe even into your butt and your glute muscles might feel tighter, and your core might now be switched on. And then just relax. Take a moment to feel the differences. So this is exactly like tension that we feel in our body. When we energetically push away, we've created a type of tension in our body, which can feel uncomfortable, right? And then as soon as I ask you to release, we've created a little bit more ease in the body. Okay, let's move it in the opposite direction now. So we're just in a fairly neutral position. Now I want you to have a feeling of drawing your hands towards your knees and your knees towards your hands. And again, feel this as an energetic action or some tension. Hold here for 3, 2, noticing what you notice, 1, and then slowly release. Come to a place where it's neutral, and see if you can discern the differences from that energetic action to now releasing. And let's just move through to release some of that tension we've created. So as you inhale, draw your belly down, look forward. And as you exhale, push down into your hands, tuck your tailbone down, lift your navel and tuck your chin in. Breathe in. Notice how your body moves with breath, and breathe out. Press and extend away. Breathe in. Feel into every little movement that you make as you breathe in. Feel how your breath supports that pose, and as you breathe out, press and extend away. Move through 3 more with your breath here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Come back to a neutral spine. Bring your big toes together. Let's take a little of the weight out of our arms. I'm demonstrating a modified child's pose to start with. So bring your forearms down to the ground. You might like to press your palms together and let your head lower so that your neck's relaxed, so that your shoulders are as relaxed as they can be. So this is the variation 1 for those with tight hips or restrictions in their knees. And the second variation is for those that have a little more openness in their hips and their knees are not such of an issue. So settle your sit bones back towards your heels. Let your head rest and lower towards the mat. And just take a moment to feel into your breath. Then take a moment to be aware of the connection that your body has to the ground. So noticing the points that your body is supported by. In this pose, it may be the top of your feet, your shins, your knees. Extend that awareness now to your hips. Notice how the fold of the hips feels in your body. And if it's not right, can you adjust it slightly so that it feels right? Take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, lift your way back up to all fours, reposition your knees, and then come up to a kneeling position. So we're just going to move through a couple of really low lunges and feel into the shapes, the body parts, the connections we have with the ground, and our physical sensations. So start by stepping your left foot forward. And as I'm really big on alignment, I want you to consider your knee and your ankle and whether your knee is stacked over your ankle. This will ensure to keep the knee safe. Okay, and just take a moment to again feel into your body. What is it that you notice in this shape that we've just taken on? So again, it might start with your foundation or the connection points you have to the ground. You might notice that if your knee is just a little bit back behind your hips, that you might feel a gentle or more strenuous openness in the front of the hip. Notice what sensations you're aware of in your leading leg. Notice how your torso feels as it rises out of the hips. And can you make any accommodations for yourself so that this shape or this form sits comfortably with you? Now we're going to move through some energetic action. So we're going to create a little bit of tension or energy around this pose. So just as we did on our hands and knees, have a feeling of pressing your foot and knee away from one another. Straight away, you might notice that the muscles on the top of your front leg are firing up. You might also notice that the back of the leg musculature is firing up. Sometimes that can produce some action in the core as well. Don't forget to breathe through this. It is an energetic action that we've created. So hold that for a little bit longer, maybe 3, 2, 1, and slowly release. Be really discerning about how slowly you release so that you can notice the unwinding of the body. Maybe add the arms here now with a breath. So breathe in, reach the arms up. Breathe out, frame your front foot. So bring your hands down to the ground. Tuck your back toes under. Lift and extend through your knee. And then gently push or transition back to downward facing dog. Let your head relax. And notice, how does this feel in your body? Stay here for as long as you need. If it's a pose that's not quite in your practice just yet, listen and respond to your body. And for you, that might mean just coming down into a variation of child's pose and staying there until you feel ready to join in some form of this shape. If you're still in downward dog, take 2 more breaths. And then slowly lower all the way to the ground. Come back up onto your knees, remembering that if you have any knee issues here, pop a blanket under to support it. And then we're moving to the opposite side now. So take your right leg forward. And again, one of those great gauges or markers when we're feeling and being aware of our body can be sometimes when we're changing sides. So you'll notice that, for example, the back knee might be more uncomfortable than the other side. You might notice that your leading leg feels different in this shape. So this is just an invitation again to bring your awareness to and onto your body. And I know for me personally, I can feel a lot more sensation in my resting knee. So I'm going to prop it up with a blanket to support myself. Again, just take a moment to be aware of both your resting knee and your resting foot or your foundation. You might notice areas of the front of the hip and sensations that you're drawn to. And now we're going to energize that or activate it. So have a feeling now of pressing your front foot and your back knee away from one another. Again, notice the sensations or the intensity of those sensations that energy has now brought about. See if you can breathe through that sensation. And if it's uncomfortable, change a portion of that form to accommodate you. Take a big breath in. You might sweep your arms all the way up. Take a big breath out. Frame your front foot Lift through your back knee. Press back to downward facing dog for 1 breath only. And then lower your knees to the ground. Draw your big toes together. Come back to your most comfortable and supportive child's pose. So take a few moments here, take as long as you have available to you, just to consider your internal sensations. This practice is meant for you to come back to time and time again, because quite often what happens is our internal sensations can change depending on how we're moving our body, and in different ways. So be curious, be willing to learn, be willing to grow, and keep practicing, even if it's for a couple of minutes a day. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Anita from Yoga on the Road.